This sounds like a small story, but it's actually not. This is a story about the Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue. I terminated my subscription to Sports Illustrated years and years ago because of their attacks on God and their constant harping on Democrat and left-wing politics, which I didn't want to read about. But now they have put this overweight, unattractive model on the cover of the Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue, a model named Yumi Nu, about whom I know nothing and really need to know nothing to say what I have to say. So Jordan Peterson reacted on Twitter, and he tweeted, sorry, not beautiful, and no amount of authoritarian tolerance is going to change that, okay? So listen to what he said. He said, no amount of authoritarian tolerance is going to change the fact that she's not beautiful. She's not. She's overweight and she looks bad in a bathing suit. So, of course, Jordan came under a slew of Twitter hate for speaking what is the cruel but obvious truth. And he's called mean-spirited and misogynist, intolerant, all the usual leftist stuff that you expect. And Jordan answered back, and he said, quote, it's a conscious, progressive attempt to manipulate and retool the notion of beauty, reliant on the idiot philosophy that such preferences are learned and properly changed by those who know better, but don't let the facts stop you. And he included two scientific studies on attractiveness, which show that even babies react to beautiful people more favorably than they do to other people. It's just, part of human nature. And remember, this is not beauty in women like courage in men is what I call an amoral virtue. It's a good. We recognize that it is good and nice for a woman to be beautiful. We recognize that it's good for a man to be courageous, but we also know that it means nothing without values. A beautiful woman who is evil or a courageous man. Hitler was brave. He was a brave soldier in World War I, but that makes him even worse. Just like a beautiful woman who's evil is even worse. And so anyway, Jordan took all this abuse, and finally, under the barrage of abuse, Jordan Peterson said he was leaving Twitter for a while. And said he told his staff to change his password so he wouldn't be tempted to go back on. He said this endless flood of vicious insult was making his life worse, and he told his staff to change it. I don't know why does Jordan, I don't have a staff. I have the staff I used to part the Red Sea, but that's not what I mean. I should have somebody that I can say, hide my password for me. But, you get hate bombed. I've been hate bombed on Twitter, and you have to just stop reading them. Most of the people are bots who are doing it, and the ones who aren't bots should be bots. It would improve their personalities if they were bots. But Jordan, and I say this with respect, he can't help doing this because it's such a good trap. He fell into the trap that the left is expert at setting, and you almost cannot help but fall into it because it's such a good trap. They take a reasonable point. They do this over and over again. They take a reasonable point of politeness, of kindness, of tolerance. We shouldn't let effeminate boys be bullied, or we should stop persecuting people who are gay, and we shouldn't insult women for their looks. That's a perfectly reasonable thing. We should look beyond their looks. And we all say, yes, we all sign on to that. That is quite right. We want to be gentlemen. We want to be polite. We want to be good people and not bad people. And then they start to amp that attitude to an extreme case where they say, well, you have to make a cake to my gay wedding or I'm going to destroy you. Or you have to believe that effeminate men can suddenly turn into women. Or you have to have an unattractive woman on the swimsuit issue. And you say, well, no, that's totally different. I don't support that. And then they act like you violated the principle of kindness. You're bullying, sexist, homophobe, but what they're doing is they're conflating the original principle, the principle of politeness and kindness, with the principle of speaking truth. And they are, basically saying if you speak the truth, you violated the politeness rule, but then you can't speak the truth, and then they get to sell you a lie. And they do this again and again and again. They say women should have equal rights, and you go, well, yeah, that's right, of course, women should have equal rights. And then they say, and so an equal number of women should be hired by tech companies. And you say, well, I don't know, maybe women aren't as good at tech as men. You're fired. You're terrible. You violated you hate women. You're a misogynist. Same trick over and over and over again, and it works for two reasons. One, we're nice people, and we don't like people saying we're not nice. My pal Bill Whittle used to say all the time, calling people racist doesn't work if they're racist, right? If you're racist, and if you're a Klansman, and somebody says you're a racist, and it's like, well, yeah, that's why I'm wearing this white hood, right? But if you're not racist and you call someone racist, they're very upset. Nobody wants, especially in America where we have the history of slavery, nobody wants to be called racist. And two, it works because the media is corrupt. They're bullies. They're corrupt bullies. NBC, ABC, CBS, New York Times, Washington Post, they are corrupt bullies, and they pile on. And so you get washed away in this slew of hate. And nobody ever says, well, wait a minute, Jordan wasn't really insulting this woman. You put her in a place where he had to speak the truth, and he said the truth. And of course, it's unkind to say, that a woman is fat and ugly or just, to insult her looks. We all know that some women are less attractive than others, and we know it's a disadvantage because a woman's beauty is valued in society basically. I mean, our natural purpose here on earth as physical beings is to reproduce, and so women want to attract men and reproduce. And listen, every single time I would take a homely homemaker over a gorgeous feminist every single time. So we understand there are other values besides beauty, but beauty is a valuable thing, just like courage in men is it's an inherently valuable thing. What's terrible about this is that the underlying issue, I mean, Jordan is obviously speaking the truth, and what the underlying issue is more important than whether this particular model is attractive or not. All right, who cares? Let's be clear about this. The Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue is one thing. It's always been one thing. It is a cheap excuse for Sports Illustrated to sell men pictures of scantily clad hot girls. That's its telos. That's its purpose. That's why it was put out there, to make money off pictures of hot babes in very scanty suits. Sometimes they just paint the suit on. The woman is essentially naked with paint on her body. So you get to say, well, I love football, so I subscribe to Sports Illustrated, but once a year I get to look at svelte girls with big breasts. I mean, that's basically that's the purpose of putting this thing out, right? And it was always a sleazy enterprise. I mean, I'd almost rather they just said, here's porn, here's some porn. At least you're honest about it. But no, it was always a sleazy enterprise. So when they put an overweight, unattractive model on the cover, they are demanding, the only purpose of that, look, the only reason that thing is there is to excite men. It's not like, we want men to be able to look at swimsuits so they can decide what to buy their wives for Mother's Day. Come on, we know what it's there for. And so when they put a fat, ugly girl on the cover, they're demanding that you accept a standard for sexual attractiveness that is not real. And the idea is not that it will become real, not that it will suddenly think that overweight girls are pretty. It's the standard will become that whatever the party says is pretty is. That's the whole point. It's not that 2 and 2 makes 5. It's the 2 and 2 is whatever the party says it is. And a pretty girl is whatever they tell you it is, and you have no right to have your own tastes and your own standards, and the society has no right to have its standards. So basically, a bunch of sleazy cheesecake peddlers at Sports Illustrated have suddenly been transformed into social justice warriors. These pieces of crap are suddenly the virtuous guys who are going to sell us this new thing, and they create a situation where in order to speak the truth, you have to be cruel, and then they attack you for your cruelty. Now, a lot of people are probably thinking, well, the eye of the beholder. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. And I know guys who really like overweight women, and that's wonderful. There's a girl for every boy in the world and a boy for every girl. But it's not the standard of beauty, and it never was. It never was. That standard changes over time. Sometimes we like thinner women. Sometimes we like fuller women. Doesn't matter. It doesn't actually change that much. People are always talking about Rubens, the painter, who painted very, very big girls, lots of cellulite and all this stuff. But that was anomalous. If that were the taste of the time, then all the painters in the Netherlands, all the northern painters would have been painting that, and they weren't. You can search the entire Western history of the nude, and you find a vanishingly small minority of women who look like the girl on the Sports Illustrated cover. And standards, norms they mean something. They're a meeting of reality with the human heart and with human nature, right? They're a combination of experience and values. Yes, this girl is hot, that's the reality, but if she's not nice, that overrides it. This is how we live our lives, and we have these standards. And what the left is trying to do is overcome your values and overcome your natural experience. Yes, that girl is beautiful. No, that girl is not. To rewrite reality to their specifications. And the reason they want to do that, they even have a word for it. They call it replacing the is with the ought, replacing what is with what ought to be, what they think ought to be. And the reason they want to do this is because their ideas for a perfect world turn everything to crap. Socialism, leftism, everything they do fails and fails and fails. So in reality, so they're trying to eliminate reality. Now, all of this is generated, this assault on human nature, this assault on reality, this idea that everything is a construct, comes a lot of it from the philosophy of Michel Foucault, who is, I had a friend in England, his name was Ian Hislop. He's a very funny humorist. He runs a humorous magazine. I think he runs Private Eye over there. And he said that Michel Foucault has contributed Sweet Foucault to human history. And that's a joke that's funnier in the English than in American. But basically, this guy is a sexual pervert who is into sadomasochism, and they say little children, though we're not sure about that. He's into sadomasochism, and he basically said that all truth is a power structure, and including language. Language is just the meaning of language is just established by power, because he was into SM. He couldn't even have sex without hurting people or being hurt. So he thought everything was power, and that was his argument. And the reason I call this a satanic argument, it really is a satanic argument, is because it says that there's no truth. It says you can't search for truth. We can't talk to one another because even our language is just a construct. It means whatever people say it means. When that witness, that abortion witness in Congress said, oh yeah, a man can have a baby and have an abortion. Well, no, the definition of a man is that he is somebody who can't have a baby. That is the definition of a man. The definition of a woman is someone who can have a baby. That's what it is. But that meaning is only a matter of power. So if there's no truth, and if all truth is power, then the funny thing is it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Everything becomes about power, because if the only truth is the truth of who has the power, then you want the power, and what they have to do is make you feel guilty for some reason about having power. If you're a white guy who never got a break in life and you're just putting two coins together, some rich black guy can go on television and say, well, you're white and you have all the power, so I get to define the meaning of your life. It is an evil philosophy. It's an evil philosophy because it takes away the communications between us. You and I, no matter what color you are, no matter what color I am, should be able to speak through reason with words that we both understand and establish where the truth lies. So go ahead, put fat, ugly women on all your magazines, and you can call Jordan Peterson a bad guy all you want, and then you can go to hell because you're a bad person. You're a wicked person hiding behind the mask of social justice. For more great content, like and subscribe to The Andrew Klavan Show wherever you get your podcasts.